Hello, boys and girls. As you can see, I am not here today, but I'm going to quickly talk you through some of the things that you need to get done for today in preparation for your Unit 3 test tomorrow. The first thing I would like for you to do is to log onto Edulastic and complete your warm-up. So pause this video, go complete your warm-up, and then come back to this video after you have finished that to continue. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to look at graphing horizontal and vertical lines. If you look at the first example on your paper, it says y equals -1. If we have y values that are -1, we can graph those by thinking of x values that could go along with it. So for example, if I have the x value of 1, I know my y value is going to be -1. So the point I could plot there would be 1, -1. So I would go on my x-axis over 1 and then down 1 and put my first point. If I add another point, let's say my x value is 2. What would my y value be? Well, because in my equation it says y equals -1, that y value is also going to be -1. So when I plot that point, it's going to be at 2, -1. You can see, let's just put one more point down, if my x value is 3, what is my y value going to be? Well, we know it's going to be -1. And if we plot that point, we're creating what kind of a line? Here, if I connect all my points, it's going to create a horizontal line. Now, is this horizontal line creating a function? Yes, it is. It creates a function because if I am using the vertical line test, as I go from left to right over this line, there is no place where my vertical line would cross any point more than one time. Let's look at example 2. In this example, we have x equals -3. With x equals -3, if I put some of those values into our table, I already know our x values are going to be -3. So a y value can go along with that, could be any y value. Let's start at 0. So I'm going to plot the point -3, 0. So -1, -2, -3, 0. My point will be right here. Let's add another point. Once again, my equation says x equals -3. So I know my first x value is going to be -3. I can choose any y value that I want to go along with this. Let's say my next y value is 1. If I plot that point, I have at least 2 points for my line now. What kind of a line is this going to make? When I connect these points, it's going to make a vertical line. Now, is a vertical line going to create a function? So if we use the vertical line test, my vertical line would cross every single one of those points that was created by that line. So it is not going to make a function. And for our explanation, it does not pass the vertical line test. So the line does not pass the vertical line test, so it is not a function. Let's look at example 3. Here we have the equation y equals -4. So because of that equation, I know that my y values are going to be -4. So if I make a table with the y values of -4, I can put any x value down because I know that y is always going to be -4. So let's think of some x values. Let's say 0, 1, 2. So if I plot my first point, 0, -4. So 0, -4, 1, -4, and 2, -4. Then if we use a line to connect those points, it is going to make a horizontal line. So this will make a function because this passes the vertical line test. With example 4, we have x equals -1. Because we know that x equals -1, on my table, my x values I can plug in are -1. Now, I can plug in any y value also. So for y values, let's say we have 0, 1, and 2. So let's plot these points. At -1, 0, my point would be there, -1, 1 would be here, and -1, 2 would be here. If we connect those points, it makes a vertical line. So would this line make a function? This line will not make a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. Make sure you understand these concepts before your test tomorrow. Now, when the equation was in the y equals a number format, the line that it created was so here we have y equals -4, it created a horizontal line. So fill in the word horizontal on your paper. A horizontal line when you have y equals. When it was x equals a certain number, the line that was created was a vertical line. So on your sheet, insert the word vertical. Now, one last thing to keep in mind. If we have an equation that starts with y squared and it equals another part of the equation, it is not considered a function. Make sure you tape this paper into your notebook with your functions notes. Now, the next part of what you're going to be working on today, you are going to log onto Google Classroom, and there is a section of problematic problems on there for you to complete. You also should have an IPS sheet that you picked up. If you did not pick up the IPS sheet to show your work in your notebook on a plain sheet of paper, you need to create yourself an IPS sheet to show your work for each question that you are answering. If you complete the problematic problems, showing work on each problem, and you still have time left, then take out your week by week and work on it because it is due tomorrow. Also, please keep in mind you have your Unit 3 test tomorrow. So if you have any additional questions, please send me an email or message me through Google Classroom so I can answer any questions that you have.